welcome to WROL Broadcast. I am Hate Mail. With me today we have the world famous Ogre Barbarian.
Woo!
And the slightly less famous OC3.
Hi guys.
In Al Chat, OC brought up an interesting topic. I thought it'd be a fun podcast topic since we didn't have we have our Chemo episode. Is Chemo the bonus tune tomorrow?
Yes.
Okay, so we have our Chemo episode that I've had in the bank for like 3 weeks that will be coming out. But to kind of get through the week, we had the idea of, and I've thought about this for a while, and I kind of wanted to gauge audience interest in it. And granted, I know there's going to be a lot of people that probably hate the idea, but quite a few of us that might like the idea. I just kind of want to talk through it. In the Ion game we used to play that we had an affair with some time ago, they have this, and I thought it was kind of interesting, where every character has all 3 affinity types. And they're completely separate characters. You have to gear them separately. You have to level them separately. So it would be very resource intensive. But you couldn't have like 3 Wonder Girls on the same team. So you don't have to worry about that because they locked that. So there'd only be 1 of each type, but it would allow you to pick and choose between the affinities. I actually really like the idea personally, but OC, since this was your idea, I kind of let you talk through the pros and cons of your thoughts on it.
Well, in a way, we have it already. Like Black Mask, he's kind of a red Constantine. We have Eclipso, who's kind of a blue Harley, and they both work pretty well. They're the same, but they're different. We're talking about all the speed down tunes and speed down teams lately, but there was missing a blue speed down tune, so we just went like, what if we had a blue Mirror Master? It could be fun. Obviously, wouldn't want to have 3 same tunes of different affinities in one team, so there has to be some kind of regulations to it. But
yeah, I think just having them where they're 1 at a time. Ogre, what are your thoughts on that? You played Ion a little bit, so you got to see how that worked as well.
Like, as long as they were carbon copies, because the one thing about Ion I didn't like was that you had to have the right one, because they changed how they worked a little bit.
I kind of like that personally, though. It's like, so
I hated that because it's like, oh, I got this one. It's the garbage one.
but
Yay!
the difference between Ion and DC Legends is that you pick. Like in DC Legends, it's not random, or at least I would hope it wouldn't be, because in that game it was a gotcha where you had to roll for characters, and this one you would pick and choose which one you wanted.
Sure, but it's still, I mean, I guess make the original affinity the strong one. So.
Well, no,
what was
see
the
how
effect on the tunes in Iron then? They weren't identical in every way?
Well, see, the difference would be I kind of like this personally. So say you had 3 Castaway Green Arrows. One of the 3, like the preferred, like they kind of made it kind of like the preferred affinity. So you have the physical one has an ability that most people would prefer, but the other 2 have like one of the talent. What are they called? Skills, talents. What are the ones that you upgrade? I can't think of the name of them.
Don't worry about it. It's all semantics.
Yeah, but anyway, so you use your blue hope for those abilities. So just one of the 5 would be slightly different.
Well, you could translate that to DC Legends, like I have to prefer one, be able to rebirth that one, and not be able to rebirth the other ones, or an additional skill, or maybe
just a slightly tweaked skill could work, I think.
Yeah.
Maybe one even for each affinity. The reason I like it is that unless they surprise us with new PvE content and stuff this year, it would be a new thing to chase that might be kind of fun. And I mean, I know some people would hate it.
You want to talk about new PvP? That would drastically change the landscape.
Oh yeah, I think it would.
All of a sudden, you're seeing like a physical affinity grot or something, and you're like, wait, what?
Yeah.
What about? No, we cannot combine the same tune in one match. Otherwise, people would bring 3 brainiacs.
Right? No, you can't. You can't have this. You can't. You can only have one tune. So I think the easiest way to do this would actually be like an affinity selector as you're putting them into the team. So like you click on the character, and then you're trying to add them to your team, and then you pick their affinity that they're going to be while they're on that team.
See, I don't think DC Legends would ever go for it. The reason that Ion liked it and the reason that DC Legends would even consider it would be it's, they just tripled the amount of characters you need to gear.
Yeah, and see something I would rather see. I'd rather see neutral affinity.
I do like that idea.
I would rather see
Adding
neutral affinity.
versions
So.
would finally solve the up and away mission problem for a while.
Yeah. But that's I mean, I don't know. I like the idea personally because I wouldn't do it. I mean, obviously it would just the amount of resources would be insane. But I would love to be able to make a mystic or physical Killer Frost. Just be able to kind of mix and match some of the characters that you want them to fit into teams. And it would be an easy, I wouldn't say easy, but actually fairly easy way for WB to make a ton of new content, basically, for you to chase and make a ton of money. Because all the whales would have to, they would have to, it's just so much. I almost think it'd be too much, but it might be fun. I don't know.
Yeah, because at that point the free-to-play crowd is just like, nope, we're done.
Yeah, but they don't have to do it. I mean, you pick the affinity you think you want for that character, and then that's it.
Well, I think part of the issue is that we're too late into the game at this point to change that drastically. That's why I was thinking a selector.
Yeah,
I do like
they're not gonna
what
do
you
that.
said, addition of a neutral affinity though.
Yeah,
That could bring
I like the
all
idea of a
sorts
neutral affinity.
tunes and possibilities.
Maybe here's an idea. So you don't have to like completely re-gear a character and like you said, the free-to-play crowd, so they don't get just completely massacred. Kind of treat it like a new version of Rebirth, where you can change their affinity type. Like you have to do something to upgrade them to change their affinity type, or they could become a neutral affinity.
Mm-hmm.
No, but maybe it's an ability you can unlock. At the start of the match, you can select which affinity the tune will have that match. But to unlock that possibility, you have to get something like a rebirth token
Yeah,
kind of thing.
an affinity token or a galaxy token or something.
And
There's
Yeah, I
something
think
you
that
could
would
do.
be I think that
That's
would be a
something
great
they
idea.
forever, or for one change. That every time you want to change it, the tune stays that affinity until you change it again, which would require a new affinity token.
Yeah, it's something you gotta farm. That'd be interesting. I'd be on board with that. Because I don't want it to be like rebirth tokens where they're just super stingy with it for no apparent reason.
I just have to say, you guys say it all the time, but give us more tokens. There are so many nice sales, but
Nobody wants
they're
to buy them.
worthless
I know.
tokens.
I have been chirping at WB every time a sale comes up. Like, yeah,
It's
me
true.
and a bunch of other people, and Ogre is my witness to that. This is a
It's
great
true.
sale. We'd all be
Like-
buying it, but guess what? We don't have enough crystals, and we know we'll never get around to rebirthing them, so no point in spending money on it.
We have the sale that's what $200 for the 10 tokens. 10 tokens. That's 1/5 of a Rebirth 5 character. Come on, for $200 we can at least get a Rebirth 5 character, right? Give us 50 tokens.
Yeah, and even that's expensive. I mean,
Oh yes, even that's stupid expensive, but
I
well,
would buy it
okay.
then. I've stopped buying that one because it's just outrageous. And I think a lot of people have. Just one rebirth just isn't worth it. It's 12 a year. It's not
Yes.
that much.
too slow. I looked at my roster a while ago. If I rebirth everybody I want to rebirth, I'll need tokens for the next 2 or 3 years, and that's not including new tunes.
Yeah.
It's very silliness.
I'm not sure why they put such a bottleneck on it, in all honesty.
I'm going to do a whole nother episode on that one and math out how
This-
much
The
money
shot
they
of
could...
Stallone is expensive enough.
I'm gonna math out how much, like in the course of a month, how much Owls would have spent on the game. versus
Oh,
how much.
jeez.
And then ask them to send it to their marketing team. So,
I was actually talking about this with another DC Legends player today, and what's weird is that Rebirth does not increase the speed, which kinda is the most important statistic of a tune. Let's say if it would also increase the speed 10% for each Rebirth, that would require more people to rebirth their tunes. Otherwise, they simply cannot compete. You can overcome the difference in power, but speed at a certain point you just can't.
That would be scary.
yeah,
I would love to see a Rebirth 5 Bane going at like 110 speed. Just, ah! That'd be
and
crazy.
maybe that's what they can do
Yeah.
from Rebirth 6 to 10 if they open it up more.
A 200 speed Batwoman at the start of the match would be pretty scary.
Now, I have the counterpoint to that, and that is that if you did that, you'd look at characters like Reverse Flash and Flash. The max speed cap is 200.
It is?
It is.
What is reverse flash speed already?
Like 130.
Oh, well, he's got plenty to go.
Yeah.
Well,
he's
add
fast
50%.
131. Got
Add
plenty left.
50%.
Well,
He's done.
if they did Rebirth 6 through 10, they don't necessarily have to do 10% on the stats. They could do less stats on like the strength and everything else, and then or they could do 10% on everything else, but then they could do like 5% for speed or whatever.
Yeah,
Make
I'm
it
just
more coveted.
saying that like literally their speed up buffs wouldn't do anything.
Yeah.
So I don't really want to fight a 200 speed Flash. That's just absurd. So
I have been saying this for a little while. I really want to see a Jay Garrick rework or somebody penalize you for having high turn meter, because it's turned too much into a turn meter game again.
yeah,
Yeah. Every siege is it starts with bonus tunes. Somebody adds Lex, and somebody adds Brainiac, somebody adds Wally, and eventually everybody is playing Lex lead, Brainiac, Wally, and one bonus tune. Because if you go first, you win. If not, you lose.
Or at
yeah.
least lose a tune or two.
Like bring back the tank meta.
Yeah, I that is one thing. I really want to see a tank meta return.
Like I didn't even get to see it. Darn it.
Yeah, and it wasn't around long. So. But it would be fun. I mean, kind of
Because
feel
they
like
reworked
we
Flex
were
and
starting to
then
go
all of a
that way a
sudden-
little bit, but
Yeah, and then they rework Flex, and it's just like, oh, well.
well, I
Never
thought Lex was
mind.
going to usher in a tank meta with the overheal, and it turned out he just
No,
ushered in
he's a
meta.
speed meta. That's
Yeah.
entirely what the game is and always has been. The problem being that there is not enough health.
No, they need to
If
quadruple the health.
if health pools were at least twice the size, speed would not be as important.
While we're on the affinity topic, it's kind of similar to that. So let's say they did Gear 12 late this year, because they're going to have to do it eventually. I mean,
You know, it's about time that they do it. They could do it now.
they
I don't think
need.
people
I mean,
would
they
be
have
mad.
to release new content with it. They have to. They
Oh,
can't just like that's without question. But what I would love to see, because remember how when it went to Gear 10 to Gear 11, it was suddenly a tankier meta, like Hal Jordan at the beginning of
Yeah.
Gear 11. Hal Jordan was like, I mean, granted he got good again, but just his tankiness was fantastic. And I would love
Yeah.
to see them like quadruple the health pools of everyone at Gear 12.
Yeah.
That'd be the time to do it, or how to do it.
Yeah. And none. It doesn't even have to be quadruple. I would say at least double.
I
But
don't
wouldn't that
know.
also mean the strength and intelligence stats double or quadruple?
See, that's what I think. I think health needs a quadruple, and then you double the strength and intelligence. Because a lot
Yeah.
of characters can still one shot. I mean, even double health, some characters could one shot you.
Oh, well, I understand. Wonder Girl's still crazy. So,
Yeah, but I mean, I look at even like Lexus 3 and Larfleeze 3, and there's quite a few characters. Booster Gold. I mean, not much. I mean, Booster Gold can almost one shot greens at high rebirth.
yeah.
We're
And
talking about
I think that's the
critical
problem
thinking.
of the game is that at lower gears, that's not the game that you're playing.
Yeah.
It doesn't happen until like Gear 10 and 11, which is weird because those gears have the most health, but they don't add enough health. That's the weird part.
Something that I also like revisited is the rule passives don't trigger passives. take Lex leadership, for example. Leadership is a passive effectively in the game. It would be awesome if another toon could actually do something against that. Like whenever Lex lead triggers, some new toon or new ability would just
You mean like
deeply
Jay Garrick's passive to steal all that turn meter that just gained?
Yeah.
Yeah, but currently the mechanics of the game wouldn't allow that.
You're
Only,
right. That's what I'm saying. Like,
only later. So if you get speed ups or intelligence ups, you could make a tune that once he gets its turn, takes those away, for example, but not as a passive.
yeah.
It's
And that's
quite
what I'm
hard.
saying. I think that's part of
Not
why
bad.
Jay Garrick is not bad, not good,
Yeah.
is that his passive can't be triggered off of other passives. I think it needs to be worded that if X would happen, then replace that effect with he gains all the effect instead.
I wonder would that work, you think?
Well, it all comes down to how you program it, and right now the programming is very baser level. I know in Magic the Gathering there's an if-then statement, which if they do a similar thing, I think they could do it. I'm not sure how their programming works though.
It should be possible. It might be a bit complicated, but if you use if statements, everything is possible. So you could do
Yeah, they've come up with some unique ideas a few times.
Instantly killer.
Yeah, so I mean, I think there's ways to do it. So that would be nice. But we're losing a little topic here.
Just slightly.
There's only so much you can talk about multiple affinities. I think it would be fun.
Yeah.
I think it could be game breaking partially, potentially. But
yeah,
I don't know. I think we're at a point now where we could do it, and I wouldn't have to worry about slow gearing anymore. I'd have 3 Razo Ghoul I could slow gear, and
I also like the affinity token idea. Do something as a reward, you can change the affinity of a tune. But at the same time, it's also nice to have new versions of tunes like Eclipso and Black Mask. They're the same but different, and they have their uses in game.
Yeah.
I think they're different enough that they feel like different characters to me. This would be more, you could have a teeny slight difference where it's very, you'd have to look for it to be noticeable. Because I thought that was I like that about Ion. It made it interesting. That was one of
If you could pick one tune to be released with exactly the same kit, but has a different affinity, which one would it be?
Ammo.
I would probably go. I'm torn between Hal Jordan and Killer Frost.
Oh, a blue Killer Frost would be scary.
Well, I like the idea of being able to make Hal Jordan physical, and then I could run Hawkgirl, Killer Frost, and Donna Troy all on the same team. And then I would have my ultimate stun team.
What about a red Black Adam?
That'd be pretty terrifying, actually.
I must say, Heatwave kind of works like a yellow Black Adam, so...
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of characters I think would be really fun to do that with. Or I would make Hawkman physical. Like I would want it.
Sure.
My physical stunner.
Yeah.
I mean, it solves a lot of the problems that for team comps that you want to make. Like your bleed comps, you could do, Mystic.
I would finally have energy characters.
Yeah, you could make, Red Hood energy, and then have like a crazy bleed team.
Right.
There's a lot of things you could do that I think would be a lot of fun with that.
Castle. A mystical castle.
Like, if I could make like Swamp Thing energy, that would be. Whew.
There's so much awesome energy characters already.
Yeah, that's my problem too. Is the energy there's just so many energy characters. Like all my Rebirth characters are energy.
You guys say that, but the bleed characters, there's 2. 3 now with Heatwave.
I was gonna say you got plenty of bleeding energy now.
But
3 is not a huge amount there, buddy.
three is a lot more than the physical.
Sure, but it should be 5. They took away Sinestro Yellow Lantern's bleeds a long time ago. They took away Superman's bleeds a long time ago. I'm still mad.
The advantage of the affinity selector is they seem to tie certain abilities to certain affinities, like speed down and speed ups is usually energy, bleeds usually physical. That could change with the affinity selector, which would open up a lot of interesting possibilities in team comps.
Yeah. Would definitely be something that is worth exploring.
I don't want to see a physical Wonder Girl though, because she's gonna hit so hard.
Do we have energy evasion tunes besides Livewire?
I don't think so. I think she's the only one.
Yeah, I think you're right.
It could be interesting.
I think it would definitely make the game.
Wally technically has a vision.
Yeah.
Let me look. Let's see here.
Oh yeah, Wally does. Wally's one of the.
Wally has a vision. Technically, you've got Batman Beyond is hit chance down, not evasion. But I don't see any other ones. Yeah, that's it. Just those.
I think it would be fun. We're at a point in the game where I think doing something big and different wouldn't be devastating to like early on. This would have been too much, but now it's like, okay, the game's getting up there in age. Let's do something radical.
And you know what? If you don't want to introduce this to the general populace, that's fine. Make some like Super League PvP thing where you have to pay to enter, and you get to rearrange affinities and do whatever you want, and then like just beat the crap out of each other. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, I'll make it Rebirth tunes only. Something like that, or maybe only level 80, or just.
Put like some sort of requirement on it.
Yeah, also to make people finally gear their tunes and go beyond their gear 10.5 level 70.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That would be welcome. And then, as much as I don't care about PvE content, they need to add new chapters. It's like add new chapters with nodes for characters that. Because I'm actually running out of characters to farm because I almost have enough shards. Even though I'll never RB5 all of them, there's very few people I need to farm now. I almost have 5,000 plus shards for most of the farmable characters. So I'd like to see new nodes just to farm new nodes.
Yeah. Because we know they're not going to switch up the farming in the campaign.
No, and that's fine because you kind of need to keep it static for people that didn't start 3 years ago.
Yeah.
But if you have more nodes and, a progression system where you can get higher resources, better resources, so that now it's like, okay, I'm going to go to be the new level 80, and then instead of going to level 90 or 100 or whatever they do, now you have a new node to farm. It gives you more resources. It makes it more tolerable because, for people that started a year ago or a year and a half ago, there is a ton of characters to gear. You'll never get through them all. You'll never even come close.
Yeah. You know what I would love to see with Chapter 9? I would love to see level 4 gear materials so that we can get to level 12 gear. Yeah. And that way they can reduce the cost of everything. Just make the level 4 gear materials. They're impossible to get in the farming events. You have to complete this chapter to do it.
Yeah, that'd be fine.
That would be absolutely amazing because if they made that like Gear 11 required content, let's do it.
Yeah.
You could add it to the gear events, just like how the
you could, but I'm saying don't. I'm saying to not do.
Level 4. No, but the last node of the legendary farming requires legendary fortunes. Make it available behind a certain threshold.
You can, but like what I'm saying is don't bother because then there's no point in getting to that new chapter. I want to say make the Gear 11 hard difficulty content and put the gear only available there. That's my opinion.
No, the problem with that is that you can cheese your way through with Lex and Etrigan.
Imagine farming 200 gear materials in PvE with a rare drop rate.
But
it'll take a while.
Yeah. All right, guys. Anything else before we wrap this up?
we went a bit off topic, huh?
Yeah. Oh, that's fine.
Topic. There was a topic. We had like 7.
Yeah.
Right. How you guys doing in Siege?
This is terrible.
I'm
I've
doing terrible.
I've woken up 2 days now where I forgot to use all my energy. That's to give you an idea.
I think I've had 2 days where I just didn't use any energy at all. I was just, oh, okay.
Maybe you should just work on improving your roster.
See, if you had those other affinities, we'd be able to.
Yeah, exactly. But I'm not buying energy anymore either, so because I mean the rewards it's cheaper to just buy the character, so.
Right.
So they do need to make it. That's another thing. You get 2 measly rebirth crystals. You know, if you're gonna spend 46,000 gems to compete for the top, yeah, at least make it so you can rebirth 1 character.
Right.
So.
Yeah, I do agree, but at the same time, Siege is pretty much the only real fun game mode, at least for endgame players right now.
Yeah.
It's challenging and it forces you to really consider your team comps. In Raid, it's just like, press auto, and if it fails, well, maybe let's have a look and we try. And
I've been having fun in Wraith again, just messing around with teams. That's what I've been doing more than anything lately.
I've been playing more Blitz and Showdowns lately, and been enjoying that. Had my first World's Finest in the Captain Cold Showdown recently.
We got music on you, Ogre.
I know. It's fucking cars driving by.
Oh, okay. I don't know if you're like at your phone.
People are inconsiderate assholes in this town. I've literally been standing under a tree. Somebody walks up on me and starts trying to talk to me, and I wanted to punch him in the face. So I moved to a different tree, and now I got cars driving by with friggin' music blaring. Like,
keep your distance. Keep your distance.
Yeah.
No, crackheads don't care. Crackheads do not care.
Yeah.
They will still ask you for that cigarette.
Anyway,
sorry, you have to cut all
Showdown.
That,
this Villain Showdown's fun.
Yeah. The certain toon restrictions is nice, but also it's fair to play for everyone.
When I like it that there's no Undergirl. That's what I like. I love buffing. I forgot how much I love buffing.
Yeah, that's true.
They need to do. I want to see like a competitive PvP mode with character restrictions. That's like outside of a showdown, like a siege style.
That's actually what Siege should have. Siege should have a restricted toon list.
Yeah, there should be. It should be bonus and restricted, or maybe just maybe not restricted, just -2. Like if you use Wonder Girl, you use Lex, it's -2 points.
Oh, I'd actually like a restricted toon list. Maybe 10 toons and 5 bonus toons. But to avoid all the meta toons or the Lex teams, that would really change things up in a good way.
I do see the devil's advocate side though. Is what happens if you don't have those tunes? Like you could never, like you weren't playing the game to be able to unlock them. It would have to be a bigger list, I guess.
There's 130 characters in the game, dude. We can make a list.
To be fair, originally, remember the Captain Cold event and the Wonder Woman DOJ.
Oh yeah, they had like 5 characters. People were so mad.
Yeah, they were really hard, and they had a really restrictive toon list. Yeah. I remember
one of them. I didn't even have it, and I was kind of ticked off.
Captain Cold.
Yeah.
Captain Cold had like 8 characters, and if you didn't have them, because half of them were paywalled, whoo, buddy, you were screwed.
There
was one that had 5 characters, and I only had 3 of the 5, and I had one of the most advanced rosters in the game at the time.
Yeah. And let me guess, you needed 4 to actually start the mission.
Yeah, and I was furious.
Yeah,
those were good times.
Ridiculous.
But the payoff, I remember eventually gearing Wonder Woman Princess. Finally, after many tries, I beat it to the last note, the one with Ares and Hippolyta. Oh man, the one was horrible. But when I did it, I was so happy.
Yeah, I want
And
I want.
that's something I never experienced after that, because most events just select the tunes, press auto. There's no challenge and no real reward.
Yeah, they really need to do like a. They could leave all the events exactly the way they are, but then add one more wave that's incredibly difficult. And there, you can give a rebirth crystal there too. Extra shards and a rebirth crystal, but make it
Right.
incredibly difficult
Yeah,
Right.
and super expensive.
you
Like,
can't always win if you don't have invested in your roster. So it should be as simple as that.
Yeah.
yeah, I mean everything's the same, but add an extra one that's super hard, super expensive, like 100 energy or 50 energy, or actually, yeah, like 100 energy. But then the payout's high, and it's incredibly difficult. And then people can't. I mean, sure, people will complain anyway, but you can't complain because you're not losing anything. You're just, if you can manage it, you're getting extra.
Yeah, and just make it the rebirth crystal. Don't make it like shards of the character or anything, because then you're literally not losing anything.
Yeah, I mean, I'd be fine either way.
That's actually stupid in Siege. The top reward, it gives you enough shots to rebirth the character, but only 2 rebirth tokens.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it should be 10.
It should be 20, and then top 10 should be 10. That would make it worth buying every day. Because right now it's really not worth it.
Enough complaining, I think.
Yeah. All right, guys, let's call it a day. I will.
We still love the game.
Yes, we still have the game.
Yep, I'm gonna go play it right now.
I've been playing it the whole time,
All right, guys.
especially since I have that side account now. So
Yeah.
And the Gem Blitz is almost over.
Yeah, I never compete in those very much, just because I never have the time.
got 14 minutes left on the gem blades
Yeah.
that I didn't bother to do anything but sign up for.
Yeah.
Hasn't
Like,
Blitz
ooh, 15 gems. Woo.
All right, guys. It was fun. Talk to you later.
Thank you very much.
Hi, this is Renee Sylvia 88, DC Legends moderator. Thank you for listening to this episode of WROL Broadcast. If you like this show, please check out patreon.com/WROL Broadcast and find out how to get cool perks. DP was worried about the coronavirus, but we reminded him that this wasn't a computer virus.